Hey WWB Universe, it's Jeremy, the varsity athlete Bodad, coming to you live with another quick take midweek update. Listen, not a lot's happening this week. There've been a lot of releases. You need to check out those videos that Matt put out this past weekend to get the latest update on that. So we're going a little bit off the grid this time. We're going to be talking about the road to WrestleMania, the use of celebrities, and I have got 5 suggestions that the WWE needs to take into account when they're planning anything for WrestleMania 41 and 42. That's coming up right now. All right, guys, welcome back for a quick update. Road to WrestleMania here. I got 5 suggestions. But before I get into that, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Get us out there to your friends. We've seen the view count go way up. We really appreciate it. We know you guys are loving this content, and we are loving you guys. So show us some love down below. All right, I have 5 suggestions for celebrity guests that WWE needs to make coming up on WrestleMania. WrestleMania has a long and illustrious history. Guest hosts, guest announcing, guest commentary, guest performances. Guests have been a huge part of making WrestleMania popular since the very beginning, since 1984. And using celebrity inside wrestling has been a great way to connect pop culture to wrestling and increase its popularity. Now, there was a time, specifically during the PG era, when it was basically just used as a means by which to advertise. Like, you saw a lot of MacGyver and like the guys from Psych and like the Jackass guys doing these really weird stunts, and it kind of diluted the product a little bit. That's not the intent of these 5 suggestions that I have. I think that all 5 of them would be extremely popular. I think that all of them would be plausible, like it's not a ridiculous stretch. And I think that all 5 of them would improve either the quality of the product or the brand awareness that WWE is looking for, especially when we're talking about a global product. So let's get to it. I do have these ordered 5 to 1, 5 being what would probably be the least valuable, all the way down to number 1, which I think is basically like a guaranteed slam dunk home run. WWE needs to do it now. So let's get into it. Number 5 is the man himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, you have to have Arnold on your show. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, I thought that this wasn't an original idea. I'm like, Arnold has to have already had some kind of association with WWE. And technically he does, but it's very, very tiny. Going all the way back to WrestleMania 31, he was part of a video clip for Triple H's entrance in his match with Sting. But that was it. I thought for sure he came out and did some kind of Arnold thing. 999. Listen, he's a pop culture icon. He's been doing it since the 1970s. He's absolutely gigantic, massively huge, still relevant today with some of the things that he's saying and doing, still has an impact. I think it touches on both buttons. People today still appreciate him and his cultural impact. He's going to get a huge pop when he comes out because there's a real soft spot in millennials and Gen Xers and boomers especially that still watch the program. And I don't think it's impossible. I think that connection is already there. I think Triple H clearly already has a connection with him. It wouldn't be that hard, especially if they decide to go back out to California. But it wouldn't really make a huge bit of difference because I think Arnold could go anywhere that you want to go. And it just makes sense to me. This one, again, number 5, probably the least impactful. But to me, it's really low-hanging fruit. The fact that you haven't already had Arnold on to me is just astounding, and we need to get past that. Number 4. This one is particularly interesting to me because we've seen a lot of jabbing, we've seen a lot of hosting and stuff like that, but what we haven't seen is a lot of comedy that's involved. I haven't seen a lot of, especially lately, comedy really hasn't been something that's been emphasized. It's one of the reasons why R-Truth has really kind of stuck out lately with some of his comedy bits that have gone over really well. So I think the number 4 suggestion needs to be Mr. Kevin Hart. He is a comedy juggernaut. He's definitely at the top of the game. There have been some kind of, beefs that have been going around. Like, I know Monica has spoken up, or Monique, has spoken up and talked about him a little bit. And there have been some other things that have swirled around about how maybe he's like some inside baseball or he's become some kind of a gatekeeper or something like that. I don't think it's done anything to tarnish his reputation. And of course, best case scenario is he's basically best friends with The Rock. Like, they've done a million different pieces of content together, movies, long form, short form, interviews. There's a great dynamic there. Him and The Rock can work together. It doesn't even have to be something long-term. It could just be a series of short bits to add some sort of comedic influence into it. I think it would increase the quality of the product. It would add something to the product, that comedy aspect that we really don't seem to be getting enough of. And again, I think it's totally plausible. Kevin Hart and The Rock work very closely together. They bounce off each other really, really well. And I think it creates a really great opportunity for WWE and Wrestlemania to take it to the next level. All right, number 3. This one goes a little bit off the reservation, just slightly, so you're going to have to forgive me. And it's going to require some long-term planning, but I think it could really do some incredible things for the product. There are very few YouTube channels out there that are bigger than WWE globally. And one of them is mrbeast. Okay, this guy's well known for doing these ridiculous, over-the-top competitions, huge money prizes, very well known for his charitable contributions, which is something that WWE's been all about with the Make-A-Wish stuff. This seems like really fertile ground for me. If you want to do a long-term story with some crazy stipulations, some cool matches, mrbeast is a very charismatic figure. He knows what he's doing. He knows about entertainment. He knows about the internet. Like, you could have him control a particular aspect of an internet show that you want to do. You could have him get involved in WWE Speed. You could have him put all these crazy stipulations in place or do all these charitable contributions or awards or things like that. You can have wrestlers represent particular charities that you're going to donate money to. I think it would increase the look, increase the perceived look of WWE as a charitable organization. It would get a huge number of eyeballs that maybe wouldn't normally be there or maybe wouldn't pay attention because they're Beast fans and maybe they're not WWE fans. It just seems like a real opportunity there. And he's really into the charitable stuff, so you probably wouldn't have to pay a massive amount of money. You'd just be willing to give a lot of money to charity, which is something you already do anyways. You need to have mrbeast out there. I think it's a lot better than somebody like IShowSpeed, in my opinion. Number 2, this one is probably even lower hanging fruit than Arnold Schwarzenegger, in my opinion. You gotta have Jake Paul, okay? You've already got Logan Paul. You've pushed him. He's won a belt. You've had him in multiple Wrestlemania matches now. Okay, if you're gonna have Logan, you have to have a foil, and there's no better foil than the brother, right? I mean, we did it with Kane and Undertaker, right? The Brothers of Destruction. Now we gotta have the new age millennial Brothers of Destruction would be Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Obviously, the connection's already there. You just have to find room in the schedule to make it work. It wouldn't have to be some kind of a long-term thing. You could probably do most of the work via like vignettes and a couple of promos. Like, I don't even think you need to have Jake Paul talk live. You could have Jake Paul just cut a bunch of vignettes ahead of time and just play them, have Logan Paul show up once or twice, and then boom, you got a WrestleMania match. That could easily be a mid-card WrestleMania match. Jake Paul looks very different than Logan right now. He just came off boxing. He's a lot bigger. He's a lot heavier. He's throwing a lot of weight around. You could tell a very interesting story. Brother versus brother, big versus little, dynamic and action. You know, you've really been pushing this dynamic action angle with Logan Paul, and you can have that go up against the big brother, Jake Paul. And I think you can have a really interesting match at WrestleMania. The connection's already there, and it just makes a lot of sense. All right, guys, here we are, number 1, top of the list. This is the guaranteed home run, what you have to do if you are WWE. And this is what you have to do. You have to tap back into that world's strongest man. Mark Henry was a huge part of WWF and WWE for a long time, for decades. And he still has one foot on the platform, right? He still is out there podcasting, talking about the content. World's strongest man, huge potential impact culturally, huge global influence. And you got 2 guys, Eddie Hall internationally. If you're trying to go over to Europe and build your base over there, Eddie Hall first got a deadlift over 500 kilograms. That's over 1,100 pounds. One of the most badass guys on the planet. Great performer, great personality, very funny, great online presence. If you're going to go over there, get a guy like Eddie Hall out there. He could come out there, he could cut a promo, he can take a bump, he can throw some guys over the ring. You can have a lot of fun with a guy like that. And I think it could really increase the quality of the product. Domestically, if you want to keep it here, Brian Shaw, 4 times world's strongest man. He's doing this arm wrestling thing now. This could be a great way to have some fun. Guy's like 6'8". He weighs like 400 pounds. He's gigantic. You can have a lot of fun with that, especially in a venue like WrestleMania. You know, there's a lot of spectacle that's involved with it. And I think having a world's strongest man, having a guy that's super big, super tall, super fast, super whatever, what better place to show off that kind of exceptionalism than at the most exceptional show of the year. That's WrestleMania. So those are my 5. Once more, Arnold Schwarzenegger at number 5, Kevin Hart at number 4 for some comedy, mrbeast at number 3 to increase that charitable aspect of it, Jake Paul at number 2 to go up against his brother Logan Paul specifically, and then number 1, you got to have a world's strongest man back, Brian Shaw or Eddie Hall. And one bonus thing I'll throw in real quick. You know what WrestleMania is really missing more than anything else in the entire world? Something that every other major sporting event that's of similar size has? A halftime show. You need to have a halftime show. And you need to make it a good halftime show. Not this crap that just went on this past. No. We don't need any of that. We need a real halftime show. And I think you could do it both nights. You specifically need to do it the second night. Give the crowd a chance to regroup, recharge up for the second half of the show. Because I got to tell you, WrestleMania, especially the 2 nights, it kind of lingers a little bit. There's some low points in it. And it would be really nice if, especially halfway through the second night, we had somebody come out there and really rock the house down. I think it'd be a great way to drive up the value of ticket sales. And if you get the right person in there, I really think it's not going to cost an arm and a leg to make it happen. A lot of people might do it for free to try to increase their recognition, because when you've got 70,000 people in a stadium cheering for you, that's worth an awful lot. You can find a lot of really good talent that'd be willing to do that for free or damn near close to it, I have to imagine. So those are my 5. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Who do you think WWE should have as a celebrity presence at the next WrestleMania or so? And do you think they should have a halftime event, especially on the second night that I do? And if so, who should host that halftime event? Let me know in the comments down below. Please be sure to check us out on our Friday night long form show, where Dan, Matt, and I are going to be hitting in all the news and providing our most interesting commentary. Keep watching, and we'll keep wrestling with the business.